Hey, Cub fans. Thanks for joining us here on Cubs 24/7, where Randy talks Cubs. Pretty disappointing result tonight in game one of the three-game set with the Mariners. Cubs lose 4-2. Not a lot of bright spots to talk about. I'm a little depressed. But let's start with maybe some of the bright spots. If I had to pick a few out, let me give you maybe two, three, or four, and then we'll talk about the specifics of the game. I think the first bright spot for me is Keegan Thompson. Keegan got called up when Jose Cuas was optioned to Iowa the other day, so Keegan got in right away. He pitched the seventh and the eighth, really a solid outing. Three strikeouts, pretty much three up, three down, 23 pitches to get through the two innings. He looked really good. He looked like you kind of think at some point Keegan's going to look. So he did that tonight. Whether or not he can sustain it or not, we'll find out. But that's the first piece of good news is Keegan Thompson looked tonight like we've been thinking he would at some point. Next bright spot would be Drew Smyly. Drew pitched a couple of innings. He pitched the fifth and the sixth. He did well, struck out two, just walked one. Pretty efficient, 26 pitches, 16 strikes. So between Drew and Keegan, we go the last four innings, cruise right through. So those are bright spots as well. We're going to get into Wicks's performance because Wicks's, I think, has there's elements of it that I think are positive and then elements, obviously, that are not. But we'll go through the details on that. And offensively, the only bright spot we had was Michael Busch. Michael went 2 for 4 tonight with a solo home run in the ninth. He ends up hitting the ball hard 3 times. And so that was a bright spot. 2 for 4 with a line out hard to the third baseman in the first inning. And Busch is hitting now 293. So that's good news. Everybody else pretty much had an inferior night. Let's do the lineups. Ian Happ led off left field. Seiya was in right field. Bellinger in center again. Morel at third base. Dansby at shortstop. Busch at first base, hitting sixth. Nico at second. Talk was DHing tonight, hitting eighth, and Yan Gomes behind the plate. And we scored the 2 runs we had. We got one in the seventh, and then Busch's home run in the ninth. The one in the seventh that we got was unearned. The Mariners made 2 errors in that inning. Nico walked, took second on a throwing error by the pitcher on a pickoff move, and then scores they gave an error to the first baseman, and Nico scores. So solo home run is really all we had. We didn't have a lot of traffic. Left 6 on base. We were 0 for 3 with runners in scoring position. And let's just kind of go through. Ian Happ went 1 for 3 tonight with a walk. And no, hang on a second. Now, Ian actually went 0 for 3. I'd written down the 1 because I wanted to make sure I noted that he did walk tonight, which means his consecutive games of reaching, he's reached every game so far this season. He walked in the 5th. But he goes 0 for 3 with the walk, and his average is down to 280. Seiya went 1 for 4 tonight, had a really nice, he scalded a ball to right field in the third inning for his only hit. Seiya's still, at this point, hitting 294. Cody Bellinger, guys, he was 0 for 3 tonight with a walk. He came in hitting 191. His average dropped to 180. So all of a sudden, we're not getting anything out of Cody Bellinger in that 3-hole. So that's worrisome at this point for me. It's been a while. Christopher Morel went 0 for 4 tonight, dropped his average down to 275. So Christopher has cooled of late. Dansby went 0 for 4. His average is now down below 250 at 244. So Dansby's not anything but hot. Busch is 2 for 4, bumped him up to 293. Nico went 1 for 3. And I don't know if you saw this, and I don't know if I have it exactly right, but here's my understanding. The play that they gave Mookie Betts an error at shortstop that Nico hit, and I remember talking about it when I did the recap of that Dodger game, that Nico hit it hard, and it was to the right of Mookie Betts. It was a hard play, and he sort of whiffed on it. Well, they gave him an error at that time. They have since reviewed it, and there's a grace period where the official scorers can go back and make changes. I don't know if it's 7 days, 10 days, 2 weeks, I'm not sure. But there's a grace period that they can go back and do it. Well, they made that change. So Nico actually came into the game with an extra hit. So he came in 167, goes 1 for 3. His average is up to 179. And so Nico had a hit tonight, but it was sort of a soft line drive. He didn't hit it hard. So Nico and Belly right now, maybe everybody's trying to meet them, but right now they're both under 200 and kind of struggling. Tauchman went 0 for 4 tonight, and with that 0 for 4, his batting average is down to just 200. His on base is still pretty high because of the walks that he's had, but Tauch is only hitting 200. And Gomes is 0 for 3, dropped him down under the Mendoza line. Yan Gomes hitting 174. And I had mentioned when I did the scouting report that we didn't have to face Dylan Cease tonight. Well, it turns out we had to face Dylan Cease tonight. Bryce Miller he just handled us. He handled us better than, or more efficiently than Dylan did, I think. Bryce goes a 6 1/3, just gives up 3 hits, 4 Ks, and he threw right at 100 pitches. Got his ERA down to 1.96. So Bryce Miller really looked. We couldn't hit him. We couldn't do anything with him, and they pulled him, and we got a little bit off the 2 relievers that we saw. But Bryce Miller just had our number tonight. We were just we didn't hit the ball hard. We just did not look good offensively. It's very concerning. So let's do the pitchers. I already talked about Drew Smyly and Keegan Thompson, bright spots. And Jordan Wicks' outing was kind of it's going to take a little breaking down. Let me give you the numbers and then talk about some of the things that I find worthy of discussion. He ends up going 4 innings even, gives up 5 hits, 4 runs. He walked 4 guys, struck out 6, had a wild pitch, and he hit a guy. So that's his line. He threw 94 pitches, only 57 strikes. So the first thing I'll say is the walks and the hit batsman, right? So he had 4 walks and hit a guy, so that's 5 walks. And he gives up the pretty much the 4 runs came on all of that. So he gives up the 3 runs in the 4th. That's the inning that he walked 3, had a wild pitch. And then he gives up a run in the 2nd. That's where he walked a guy and had a hit batsman. So the free bases all came in the innings that sort of blew up on him. So it's easy to just sort of say, well, Jordan Wicks just needs to throw strikes, and that's what Jordan Wicks should have done. He threw a lot of pitches. I had him for 6 different total pitches: 4-seamer, slider, curve. He threw his change, a cutter, sinker. And early on, it was like, he was throwing his fastball up, and it reminded me of the way Shota uses his fastball, how Shota keeps his fastball up and it sort of runs away. And early on, Jordan's 4-seamer was doing that, and then he comes back with the slider down and in. But it looked to me like I don't think he was trusting his pitches, and I think he got in trouble. I think for me, Jordan Wicks, it's so important that he just stays ahead. And if he hadn't walked anybody tonight, I think we'd have been right in it. They're not going to light up his stuff. I guess my thoughts would be, I think Jordan Wicks' stuff is good enough. The change is really good tonight. His 4-seamer had good movement on it. I think his stuff is good enough. I just want Jordan Wicks to pound the strike zone. I want to see first pitch strike out of Jordan. I want to see him challenging. I want to see him trusting his stuff enough to try to get ahead and stay ahead of these hitters, because that's how he got in trouble tonight. Wasn't doing that. Too many walks, and he couldn't recover from it. So I think the good news is, Jordan Wicks' stuff looks good. He just needs to command it. So in his next outing, that's what I'm hoping maybe the adjustment will be. I thought maybe he underutilized his change a little bit. I think he could have gone to that. But that's for him and Tommy Harvey to figure out. But his issues came because of the walks and the wild pitch and the hit batter. So just throw your stuff. Maybe go to 3 pitches. Maybe just go, obviously the 4-seamer change and maybe the slider, and just throw those things well and throw them for strikes. That'd be my recommendations. They're not going to call me and ask me, but that's me just thinking. So I see the good news in that for me. It's like, okay, Jordan, here's what happened. I get it. So next time, let's just do this. Let's streamline. For me, I think that would be the plan, but we'll see what happens. But still, Jordan Wicks, he's a kid. He'll figure it out. He's still trying to figure out how to get people out in this league. So that's the good news. Keegan looked good. Smyly looked good. Busch looked good. Everybody else is having trouble. Morrell has an issue with a finger that I'm starting to worry about. He had an injury timeout in the game before. Had a swing, was uncomfortable with something with his hand. Same thing happened tonight. So I'm starting to worry about that. And the rest of the guys need to start hitting a little bit. So we're down. We dug ourselves a hole. We're down to 7-6, and we are we need to turn this around before it gets out of control. So we got Shota going tomorrow, and I got to tell you, it's a big night. We need Shota, and I think he's our stopper at this point, if not our ace with Steele being down. But we need him to get it done. We're going to lean on him, and we need tomorrow night for sure. So, again, Cubs lost to the Mariners tonight 4-2. We got them tomorrow night, same time, same place. And we'll talk later. Go Cubs, go.